Hello, dear students. Welcome back to our news channel. Students, today we have important topic that connects history, geopolitics, and economics. Moreover, India's role as the second largest arms importer in the world. Yes, you heard that right. According to a report by Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI, India was the second biggest importer of arms between the year 2020 to 2024. Yes, 2020 to 24, right? Only behind Ukraine. Now we know why Ukraine was importing the arms, right? So what does this mean? Why does India need so many weapons? And how do global events influence arms trade? So stick around as we break it all down in a simple way for you to understand. All right, before we get into India's case, let's understand a few basics. What exactly do we mean by arms import? Arms include all major military equipments. Okay, all major military equipments like uh, fighter jets, tanks, submarines, missiles, and advanced weapons. Okay, so countries buy or import these from other countries that manufacture them. But why would a country buy weapons instead of just making them? Well, not every country has the technology to produce advanced weapons. Some, like the United States, Russia, and France, have well established defense industries and sell weapons to other nations. They have already established defense industries. So they export it to other nations. Now, you may be wondering, why do countries need weapons in the first place? The answer lies in national security. See, just like whenever we go outside, we always make sure that our house is locked, right? So the answer, so every country, our country is also our home. So every country needs a strong military to defend itself from threats, and various kinds of threats are there. Okay. Now the question is, why is India a major arms importer? Why is India a major arms importer? See, India is a large country with a vast land border and a long coastline. It shares its boundary with Pakistan and China, both of whom had historical conflicts with India. Right? Can you tell me the year? Yes, just tell me in the comments below the year in which we had war with Pakistan and China, respectively. Okay, now coming back to the topic. So, we had historical conflicts with both Pakistan and China. So, to ensure security, India needs advanced defense systems. However, India does not yet manufacture enough high tech weapons on its own. This is why it relies on countries like Russia, France, and the US for its defense equipment. Right? But here's an interesting fact: India's arms imports have actually decreased in recent years. So, compared to 2015 and 2019, India's imports have actually dropped by 9.3%. It has actually dropped by 9.3%. Okay, 9.3% in 2022 2024. This is partly because India is now trying to manufacture its own weapons under a policy called Make in India. This we have discussed many times. Still, India was the largest buyer of arms from Russia and France. In fact, 36%. 36% of India's arms imports came from Russia only. 36% कहाँ से आ रहा है? रशिया से. Okay. And 28%. I'm just giving you, I'm just providing you the data for you to have a sort of understanding. Okay. And 28% came from France. So the largest share, which is, so these two countries forms the, uh, uh, I mean, India buys maximum from these countries. Okay. Now let's take a look at these two key suppliers, Russia and France, and understand their role in India's defense strategy. First, let's start with Russia. Okay, सबसे पहले हम रशिया से स्टार्ट करते हैं. Russia has always been India's biggest defense partner, and it has been like this for many decades. ऐसा नहीं है कि आज की ही बात है. काफी पहले से ही इंडिया जो रशिया से आर्म्स इंपोर्ट कर रहा है. ओके. अब रशिया क्या क्या प्रोवाइड कराता है? रशिया प्रोवाइड्स, रशिया हैज सप्लाइड इंडिया विद fighter jets, submarines, missiles, and tanks. Okay. So even though India is now trying to reduce its dependency on Russia, it still gets most of its weapon from here only. However, Russia's share in India's imports dropped from 55% to 36%. अभी हमने कहा था ना कि 36% हो गया है. So its share has decreased from 55 to 36. Why? Because of several reasons. India's growing partnerships with other countries and Russia's involvement in the Ukraine war, which has affected its defense exports. अरे जो रशिया है वो खुद वॉर में इन्वॉल्व है यूक्रेन के साथ, राइट? सो उसका जो एक्सपोर्ट है, डिफेंस एक्सपोर्ट, वो वैसे भी रिड्यूस हो गया है. नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट फ्रांस. है ना, 36% रशिया के साथ है, एंड देन आफ्टर रशिया कम्स फ्रांस. So France is actually becoming a major global supplier to India. And India has bought 36 Rafale. Yes, India has bought 36 36 Rafale. है ना, 36 Rafale खरीदा था फ्रांस ने, right? And now India is also negotiating to buy more. Okay. So India is working with France in different military equipments. For example, after Rafale, India is also working with France on submarines. Now, why is this important? Because having a strong air force and navy is crucial for a country like India, which has both land and sea borders to protect. Okay? तो इसीलिए इंडिया के बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है कि इंडिया के पास एक स्ट्रॉन्ग नेवी हो, इंडिया के पास एक स्ट्रॉन्ग एयरफोर्स हो. Okay? Now, what about other countries? Now, India is not the only country importing weapons. There are many others. ऐसा थोड़ी ना कि सिर्फ इंडिया ही import कर रहा है. No. And one of the biggest surprises in the SIPRI report was Ukraine. Yes, Ukraine was at war with Russia for the last 4 years. And because of this, its arms imports have increased almost 100 times. That's right. Its import have increased almost 100 times compared to the previous 5 years. Another interesting case is with Pakistan. Pakistan arms imports grew by 61%. Now, that is a bit concerning for us. You know? And 81% of these weapons came from China. Uh, Now we know that there's a nexus between China and Pakistan. Both support each other. So Pakistan's arm import has increased by 61%, and इस 61 में से जो 81% हिस्सा है जो वेपन कहाँ से इंपोर्ट कर रहा है पाकिस्तान? 81% पाकिस्तान इज इंपोर्टिंग फ्रॉम चाइना ओनली. सो व्हाट अबाउट चाइना? तो चाइना, हालांकि it dropped out of the top 10 arms importers list for the first time since 1990 to 1994. Why? Because it is now making its own advanced weapons. So instead of buying, China is selling weapons to other countries, including Pakistan. Okay, now let's talk about the bigger picture. What does this all mean for the world? सबसे पहले, अगर increased global tensions होगा, so more arms imports mean that countries are preparing for conflicts. The war in Ukraine has led many countries in Europe to buy more weapons. आपने देखा होगा कि अगर कहीं पर सोसाइटी में कहीं पर चोरी हो जाती है या फिर कुछ क्राइम कंडक्ट होता है, सो एवरीवन बिकम विजिलेंट, है ना? सो we can also say that since many countries are buying weapons, they are basically uh, making sure that they are prepared for any conflict. Okay, so it also acts as a measure for deterrence. It acts as a deterrence. Now, there are because countries are buying, so we need, so अगर countries खरीद रही हैं, तो this also lead to rise of new defense exporters. France, for example, it has increased its defense exports significantly. And countries like India are trying to develop their own industries. Okay? Now there's also a shifting alliance. India is buying more weapons from France, the US, and Israel instead of relying only on Russia. तो पहले इंडिया क्या करता था? इंडिया 55% रशिया से इंपोर्ट करता था. Now it is now it is relying on other countries also. It is basically diversifying, है ना? So world, one big key takeaway is that the world is becoming more militarized. More countries are investing in defense, and armed trade is playing a crucial role in shaping global politics. Okay, so here's a question for you. Should India focus on importing weapons or build its own defense industry? What do you think? Okay. Now, students, that's all for today. If you found this topic interesting, don't forget to share this podcast with your friends. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning. Bye bye.